Hello friends, I have brought a video which I believe should make it a little easy for every one of you to identify the usage of article a, and the. Today in this video, I am only going to cover only a and an for you guys to be easy in English grammar. So let's begin the usage of a and an to understand it and to use it in further convenience. All right. So let's come on to the whiteboard here. The very first rule talks of use a or an when you mention something or someone for the very first time. So if at all you have a sentence to put up to express your feeling or express something which is going on in your head, and that is the very first sentence which you have put up, use a and an. So logically a would sit with a word which starts with a consonant, and an would sit with a word which starts with a vowel. As you all know, we have 5 vowels and 21 consonants. So in this mannerism, we will have to evaluate and calculate in the certain measurism so that we work out the grammatical usage of these articles. Well, that was my first rule. So use a and when you basically talk of something for the very first time. Example, I saw a rainbow. So you could probably talk of these sentences are basic sentences. So please do not mind me, but I would want you to understand the fundamental of the usage of it. So for the very first rule talks of using it for the very first time in your expression. So I saw a rainbow. A rainbow because R or the word rainbow starts with the consonant R. Okay, that's why a rainbow. I consulted an optician. Optician as a word starts with an O. So when I talk about the usage of a vowel, that is when the word an or an article an has to be associated with the word. Right. Second, use a and an when you mention something or someone is one of a group. Logically, what is one of a group? I'm very sorry. Excuse me. As I say rainbow, as I say optician, I am talking amongst those specific nouns. So if I had to express something amongst those specific nouns, I would say it was a magnificent rainbow amongst other rainbows if I have ever seen. So that's why I am evaluating it as the most. Next, I consulted an optician in Indore. Since I belong to Indore, that is in Madhya Pradesh, the central India. That's why I would rather like to highlight the state. Alright, so into which Indore is one of the districts. Right, so I consulted an optician. So in Indore, because amongst other opticians where I belong to, I have consulted one specific. So that's where an optician. By the ways, a and an basically talk of count 1. That means we are referring to something in our expression which counts 1. A something, a rainbow, an optician. So we are referring to something as count 1. Alright. Third, use a or an when you say what someone's job is. As I say that I am a doctor. So I am a doctor. That means I am a PhD holder. So that's why if I basically introduce myself, I would probably say that I am a doctor. Logically, a sits with a word which starts with a consonant. Yes, he is an engineer. Now in my second example here, if I refer to someone's job, I am referring to someone's job here as well and here. So remember, why have I used an? Because this word here starts with a vowel. But I would want you guys to be more easy on the understanding and decision of usage of a or an. So my fourth point would rather be more help. Say for example, if I put it this way, is that use an specifically with sounds. So not with the spellings, but with sounds. In all my three examples, I have given you words which specifically started with a consonant in rainbow and article as a vowel in the word optician. So these were specific, but there are some words which could probably confuse you, but still they would carry the article an. So I would want you to understand that an or a has to be used not with the spelling, but the sound of the word. Say for example, like the vowels a, e, I, o and u, as we mentioned. If you have a word which sounds a, this is what you need to understand. I am specifically giving it to you in Hindi. Why? Because that is how we are going to connect on our Indian language, which is Hindi. Through Hindi, I would want you to identify the sound of the word. So if I say a, as in a is, it sounds like a, as in apple. So that's how you say apple. The mouth which you open and the sound which comes, that is how we need to work out that if a spelling sounds like a, like hat, air. So air refers to a successor. So that's why when I talk of someone or some word which sounds a, that is where we talk of the usage of an as an article for a. When I talk of the next vowel, e, that is e, right? It should probably sit with the sound as a. So a, that is how the sound should be when you talk of or when you mention a word like amendment, amendment. The next two words are Xmas, Xmas, and the next word is MP. So he is an MP. I saw an Xmas tree. So we are sitting with this sound here. So though these words begin with a consonant, we basically talk of the sound of the word, which should help us identify, am I supposed to use an a or the word am. Good. So far, I'm sure you are able to understand it. The next vowel, I. So if I say word sit, so it should sound, remember, the word has to sound ear. That is how the word has to sound ear. If this sound comes, that is when we decide that the article an has to be associated. Right. So if I talk of the word or the letter I believe Indian, industrialist, India, all words, most of the words beginning with I should sit with an article an. So he is an Indian. So logically, if I put up two sentences to you, you will easily understand that if I put it up this way, he is or she is an Indian. Other than that, if I use plural subject, like instead of he or she, I use they. They are, we don't use an now. Why? Because every time as I just mentioned a few moments back, a or an has to be used with count 1. That means there has to be something but only one. That is where the association of a and an should come into picture. Well, so I has to sound ear. Now the next one, O. So when I talk of this vowel, it should sound a. That's how mop up. Mop. Mop is something which you clean your floor with. Right. So when I talk about these words which begin with a consonant H, but then it sounds or the pronunciation of the words are honest, hour. That's how a. I'm sure this is going to be of help to you. Well, so this is how we need to recognize these words. Last but not the least, the fifth vowel, which is U. U has to sound a. The sound is a. And when we talk of the usage of the word like ugly, umbrella, umbrella. That's how. I'm sure I might probably sound a little weird, but the only attempt for this video is to make your fundamentals easier. So allow me to just go ahead with these kinds or these ways in which I am trying to work it out for you guys, for your convenience. Well, so what have we understood with U as a vowel? The sound has to be a, like cup. So that's why a. That's how we use an article an with an ugly person, an umbrella. So we are referring to count 1. Remember that. So I hope with these pointers I have given you an idea about the usage of a or an. Right. Last but not the least, a few more seconds into the video, I would want you to shift to this portion of the board. The board basically talks of certain words, though beginning with vowels, but they don't sound like the vowels or the words which I previously talked about, and the sound with those, I'm sorry, not the words, the letters or the vowels. The vowels have to sound in a certain specific mannerism so that we can associate those words with an, right? So these are certain exceptions, like one, that doesn't belong to the sound of the vowels. Then union, year, it begins with a year or a Y in a way, right? European, again, European, year, it begins with a year, Y again. As in the sound sits on, other than the vowels, it sits on somewhere on the consonants. So that's why we don't use these words or in association with an article an. That's how. Unicorn, again, year, Y. So again it sits with a consonant, that's why no article an. Last but not the least, user, again, year. So almost WNY kind of words were brought into picture. Book also, like a book. So that's why instead of an book, why a book? Why? Because b, it doesn't come into the sound of vowels, as I previously talked about, right? So I'm sure, my friends, you are able to understand, or with this I would appreciate certain kind of feedbacks from you. Keep on working out, be good, and hope to see you soon in the other video. Thank you.